Hello everyone, hope everybody's doing well. We are back here with another video today, and today we're going to be talking about heated glass operation, okay? And this is task sheet number 80. You won't be able to find it in Moodle, just like always, okay? And it's a warm day today, so my forehead's going to be shining a little bit in this video. I apologize for that. But it is warm today, and we are talking about heated glass. You know, sometimes people bring their vehicles in, says the rear defogger doesn't work or their heated seats don't work in the middle of July. And sometimes you think, well, they don't need either one of those during the summertime. But heated seats in particular, some people use those all year round, I know. And just for muscle relaxation, things like that. Feels good on their back. You know, they may have the air conditioner on full blast, they have the seat heater on too. So you just never know how that may work out. But nevertheless, I've got today my GMC Yukon, 2001 GMC Yukon, and we're going to show you how to test this heated grid on this back window here. A couple of tricks on that, and display a couple of our electrical principles also. Here we're going to see how that the amperage is the same, right, in any part of a series circuit. And we're also going to see a little bit about how voltage drops across a resistor. One of my favorite topics, as you know. So you can think of this heated grid here as a resistor, because as the current flows across it, it drops. It starts out near battery voltage over here and goes all the way down to zero over here. So we'll be able to display that or demonstrate that today with a test light and with a voltmeter here. Okay, so I hope it'll be interesting. Hope it'll be helpful to you. I hope you guys, I want to thank you guys who are staying involved and staying engaged in this time right now. I appreciate it very much. So we're going to try to do this for you today and get you some information here that'll be useful to you on this particular accessory. Chapter 26 in our book covers many accessories that are on vehicles today. I'm not sure if it covers all of them or not, but it covers quite a few. The list continues to grow day by day, and certainly year by year as new models come out, of the number of accessories, bells and whistles, sometimes we call it, that manufacturers put on vehicles. It's gotten quite lengthy and quite involved. So, but it's an interesting topic. It's one of the areas that really tests you as far as being an electrician. Okay, even just doing power windows sometimes it gets a little confusing. Power door locks, they may have 2-3 relays in there, and the way they switch that back and forth from door to door, and goes through one switch and another switch, and then goes to ground and goes through a relay. That can be a little confusing sometimes, so it takes a little bit of experience, trial and error sometimes, some of those circuits. But we're not going to get into all that today. This is going to be a very simple circuit we're going to look at, this heated back glass. I'll also mention while I'm thinking about it, that on this particular vehicle, anytime when you turn on the rear defogger for the back glass, it also turns on a heated section in the driver's outside rear view mirror. They are connected together, and it also defrosts the driver's mirror. So that's a real handy feature that's on a lot of vehicles. So they are on the same circuits, the same control. Okay. Speaking of circuit and control and so forth, I've scanned and put in for you the wiring diagram so that you can follow along with some of this. You can see how this is wired, but I have them out here, and I've scanned that in and put that in the Moodle there also for as a PDF for you, so you can look at that as we go. So, all right, now I'm going to take the camera off here in just a minute and show you a few things and get up close with this so that you can see it better. But just to mention that this is a fairly high load circuit, and it only works with the engine running. Okay, this particular deal only works with the engine running. You'll find that in the description of operation of how the circuit works in that respect. So always want to look at that. You don't want to just turn the key on and see if it works, because it may not. There's a lot of systems that don't work unless the engine's running. Backup cameras is one of them. Typically, the engine has to be running, and then obviously the vehicle has to be in reverse for the backup camera to come on. So if the engine's not running and you just have the key on, it won't come on. So your test will not be correct if you're trying to check something like that. So you always want to look at description of operation, if it's a service you're not familiar with, and find out some of those particulars. Okay, so in this case, this one has to be engine running for this to work. Okay, so I've got a couple of fans running in here today for two reasons. Like I said, it's warm today, and two, I've backed the GMC into the garage, and I want to make sure those exhaust fumes get blown out of here as much as possible. So I've got a pretty good fan right over here that's blowing out. I've got a fan over here that's kind of blowing on me a little bit, so I don't sweat too much. Okay, so hopefully you've got your worksheet here on your 2001 Yukon, task sheet number 80, and your wiring diagram to go along. So we're going to check and see how this circuit's, what it looks like here, run the test on it, show you where the parts are to it, and see how that goes, okay? So let's get started with that. I'm going to take the camera off here. All right, so I'm going to go up to the front of the vehicle first. All right, show you some things up here. Now it says that on our diagram here that we have a rear defogger relay, okay? And then we have a rear defogger fuse, and it's a 30 amp fuse. And it also says that that is located in the junction block under hood. Okay, everybody got that? All right, pretty simple. We've looked at those kind of things before. So we have that right here. Also have the legend here underneath the cover for the electrical center. Okay, so we see right here where it says rear defogger. Okay, we can see that. And handily, right next to it is the rear defogger relay. So if you needed to check that. So they're right over here. So the relay is right here, according to that, and the 30 amp fuse is right here. Okay, so that's where those components are located. All right, now we're going to leave that right here for a minute. We go into the vehicle here, start it up again, like I say, so we can turn it on. And here we go. All right, so we have our heater control here, right here, our blower controls, temperature controls, mode controls, and down here we have our fresh air recert, AC, and then rear defogger. So this square with a little grid on it. Okay, so we're going to turn it on. Notice the little light comes on right there. It lets you know that it's working. Now if that light doesn't come on right there, then you know you've got a problem. Some systems may set a code. A lot of them don't on this, but some of them might, so that'd be something to check. But if that little light doesn't come on when you turn it on, then that's for sure a problem, and it may just be in this control right here. But there'll be a test in your service information under rear defogger inoperative. It'll tell you when you push that button, if the light doesn't come on, what you need to check. Okay, so I always want to remember to look at service information about things like that. Okay, all right. Now you see right here there's the front defogger, and it has the shape of the windshield on it. That's a different system there. This is strictly our rear defogger and the electrical side of it. All right, it's on right now. Now I want to show you too, if I can get a picture of it on this camera, this mirror, right? Okay, see right here on the mirror, it shows the little heater grid right there. Shows you this mirror will get hot, and it works with that rear defogger. So that's how you know if, or at least one of the ways you know if the system has that. Okay, all right, right there. Little emblem right on the mirror itself. Okay, so we're going to come back here and we're going to do a little testing. Got my meter right here, got some glare on it, So I've got all these lights going on. So I've got a meter here, and I've got a test light here, too, we're going to use. And then I have, whoops, there we go. Then I have our little amp meter here that we've used before. So let's check this first, see if we can get it to work. Okay, see if I can do this left-handed. DC amps. We've got it at 0. Now, I checked this a while ago and I know which side's the hot side. So this side here is where the power starts at. So if we clamp around that, can we see that there? Yep, it says 15.4 amps. Okay, 15.4 amps. So we know this thing is working. If it's got amperage, it's working. That's what amps means. It means there's some work going on, right? So that's that side. All right, then our grid goes all the way across from the passenger side to the driver's side to the other connector right here. And guess what? It shows 15.2 amps. Okay, and remember, this little amp meter I got here is an inexpensive one. So, but that's real close. A while ago it was exactly the same when I checked it. Let's check it again just for the fun of it. 15.3. 15.3. Yeah, that's better. Okay, 15.3 on each side. Well, that's pretty good. So we have that shows our principle again, that in a DC circuit, amperage is the same anywhere in the circuit. Okay, so I have a handy little tool right here that I have hooked up. See, I've got this plugged into the power port back here, so it provides me a ground for my test equipment. It's really handy. So I've got the meter hooked up right there so that we can check this. Okay, and it looks like part of it came off there. Hook that back up. All right, so let's use a test light first. Okay, I'm going to switch hands with this camera. Hopefully I can do that. So we're going to look right up here. This is, we know, is our hot side. Okay, so our test light, you can see it, it's going to light up. See, our test light lights up bright. We have power on that side. Okay, so if our theory is right and all the voltage drops, then we don't have any power over here. See, the test light doesn't light up over here. Okay, let's try that again. So we're over here where the power starts at on this side. It lights up. Okay, now every one of these grids here, every one of these grids has current flowing through it from right to left as we look at it. Okay, so each one of them is hot. See, there we go. That one's hot. That one's hot. That one's hot. See, each one of them, every one of them has current flowing through it. See the test light come on every time. So you have to be very careful when you're making this test. You don't scratch that. Okay, you just barely touch it. See there, it lights up every time. Notice though, as we go toward the left, the light gets dimmer. It might be a little bit harder to see in the video, but as you go across it, the light gets dimmer because the voltage is dropping across this grid as we go across it. The voltage is dropping from 11 something to near 0. So, I also have the voltmeter here. Let's see if we can do it with that. Got the voltmeter hooked up. Okay, and we're going to connect it up here. Oh, I'm sorry, up here, right there, right there at that, and it's going to be 11.8. Okay, then we're going to connect it right here, and it's going to read 0.94. If we come somewhere near the middle here of this thing and touch it on there, it's going to read 5 volts. Okay, we come over here closer to to the passenger side again, and it reads 9 volts. I'm having a little trouble holding that and the camera both, and pointing it at the at the meter. But we can also notice that the glass is getting hot. Okay, that's obvious. But we're showing you here how the voltage drops as it moves across. Let's go all the way over here. Okay, see if we can hold that on there. About right there. We're just a couple of inches away from the left side, and we're down to 1 volt. Okay, so we see how that voltage is dropping as it goes across. But our amperage again was the same. Okay, so very simple test on that. Now, your book talks about repairing these grid lines, and you can do that. They do make kits if one of these grid lines gets broken in two. If one of these grid lines gets broken in two, the way this is set up, the other grid lines will still work, but that one won't, because it'll be an open circuit in it if that happens. Okay, it'll be an open circuit if that gets scratched in two. Okay, another thing you can repair is this mounting tab on the glass itself. And I don't know if I can get the glare off of there where you can see it, but I have repaired this one in the past. You can resolder that to the glass. Okay, you can see a little bit of a gap in that one. This one over here is a factory one. Looks a little bit better. But yes, you can take a soldering gun and some special solder. It's not regular solder. It's some special solder for that, and reattach that to the back glass. And they also have some other ways to do it too. But okay, so everybody good? We've got our little test port there. We've got our meter hooked up. We've got a test light that we used on it, and we also used our meter here, and we went across it from passenger side right to left and saw the voltage change. See, that's 9 volts there, 7 volts there, 6 volts as we go across the grid. And if you can't see the gap in the grid, you can check every one of the grids and see where you're losing it at. Okay? All right, pretty simple test. Pretty simple test. Put this camera back up here. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the vehicle off at this point. Okay, so heated glass operation, task sheet number 80. All right, tools that we use the digital voltmeter, and we also use the test light. Okay, the voltmeter gives you a better idea of, for at least our purposes here, of how that voltage changes as it goes across the glass. Okay, as far as whether that glass in the mirror works or not, you're pretty much going to have to put your hand on there and feel it. You can take those glasses off. It's just 2 wires going to it too, and you can do the same, pretty much the same test on those. It's just a little bit harder to get to usually, to take that glass off the housing to get to it. Okay, but it's still the same thing. It's a grid there that's going across that mirror and heats it up. Okay, so really easy to test. Sometimes these are on pickup trucks or cars or something like that, where this glass doesn't open up where you can get to it like that, but you can still check it just the same way right there. You don't have to take any trim apart or anything. Now, if you don't have power here where you're supposed to have it, we just came unplugged. Scared me there for a second. Came unplugged. It got hot, I guess, and it wasn't a good connection there. It loosened up. All right, that was good. All right, you check that purple wire and backtrack all the way back to the relay and the fuse back there from the back of the vehicle and find out where you're losing power. Again, like I say, so that's got a 30 amp fuse, okay, but remember it was running 15 amps. So we've talked about that before, that most fuses are about twice of what the load's going to be, or expected load's going to be. So that's what that was there. It was 15 amps draw, and I'm going to use a 30 amp fuse. So that's pretty standard procedure to do it like that. One other note on this particular system is that in most of General Motors cars, is that control head that's operating that, where the switch was, has a 10-minute timer in it, okay? And so when you turn that on, it's going to run for 10 minutes and then automatically turn off, okay? There's just no need to run that back glass continuously, okay? It gets pretty warm, okay? It gets over 100 degrees, that's for sure, because it gets hot to the touch, okay? It's probably about 113, 115, maybe 120 degrees, so it gets plenty warm. It's certainly warm enough to get some ice off of there, some milk, some dew off of there, a little frost off of it, and so forth. But it takes it just a few minutes to do that. Now they have, I know some Cadillacs had a better idea, they thought, where if it was really cold outside, and they're monitoring that with the outside temperature sensor, and they think it's humid outside, they had some that they let that back glass run for an extended period of time. Well, guess what? They had some trouble with their connections and stuff, and had some of them, as they say, have a thermal event and had a problem with it. So I've done a recall on a few of those Cadillacs where that got changed. You reprogrammed the control module to turn it off after 10 minutes and not act that way. So that's just a pretty standard deal now. Like I say, about 10 minutes is all you need. Obviously, if you got really heavy ice on there, you can turn it on again. And if it's ice cover, it's not going to get, the whole glass is not going to get so hot anyway. So anyway, that's just something about how that works and so forth. So hopefully that was helpful to you. You can review these wiring diagrams and your worksheet there. Of course, this one works fine, other than the fact that the connector came off here, the wire came off, but I can fix that pretty easy. All right, again, appreciate everyone staying engaged. This is session 15. So next week we're just going to cover some airbags and maybe a little bit about audio systems. But we're going to go out with a bang. I've got some airbags to blow up. Got to make some videos for that. And we'll talk about airbag circuits, because that is an important circuit there too, safety-wise, when you're working on it, and safety while you're driving the car. So it's a very important circuit or system to know about. But again, accessories. There's a whole lot of accessories on cars today, just a multitude of them. This is just one of them, and the one that I thought would be pretty easy to make a video on and just talk to you guys again, touch base with you. So thanks for continuing to participate, and hope everybody's doing well, and appreciate it. Thank you.